again for joining us today. This afternoon I stand side by side with staff members, board members, and lovely community members. We'd invite you to come forward if you'd like, but our lovely community members are in the audience today to announce an important collaborative effort in further support of our district's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning students. Early this month, a number of our constituents joined us at our first board meeting of the school year to voice their concerns around comments that had been made by members of our district that were circling in the news and on local social media. And while many stepped up to the dais on that evening to speak, their concerns clearly ran deeper than the 2-minute time allowance that was provided to them. There was more that they wanted to say and more that they wanted us as the district to understand. So yesterday, several of the wonderful people who are there in the room today, I invited them, members of our local LGBTQ community, including representatives from Fresno Genders and Sexualities Alliance Network, My LGBT Plus, Trans Emotion, LGBT Fresno, Community Link, and community leaders such as President Carol Goldsmith and our former Fresno Unified trustee Pat Barr to sit down with me in space where they could speak freely, giving me the opportunity to listen and to learn more. So we stand today with some of those who joined us yesterday to announce that yesterday's meeting is a step forward in the right direction toward finding a path forward from the place where we've been residing in the last few weeks. After our meeting yesterday, the message remains the same. I want every student, employee, family member, and member of this community to know all are welcome and safe in Fresno Unified Schools. Fresno Unified firmly believes that students and staff perform best in an environment where tolerance, diversity, and inclusiveness are practiced and are valued. Our Board of Education affirmed those core beliefs through the adoption of Board Policy 411, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Policy. Furthermore, I need to be clear that Fresno Unified will continue to provide our students age-appropriate sex education in accordance with the Healthy Youth Act and board policy, while continuing to honor parental waivers, allowing for opting out of the instruction if that is the family's intent. On a personal note, I want to share with you, as I did with those we met with yesterday, that I'm committed to making certain that we are doing right for all kids we serve. All of our kids, regardless of their demographic nature, deserve to feel safe, respected, and connected at school. I've shared with colleagues that one's personal faith and commitment to students are not mutually exclusive. Nor should either get in the way of us supporting our kids on their way to finding academic success. I want to thank those who took time yesterday on short notice to come and meet with us for their honesty, their directness, and their insight. I recognize fully that many in the LGBTQ community have endured violence and harassment in their own lives, and that those experiences, including that of many young people, experience bullying and difficulty and exclusion on a daily basis on some of our campuses. I know that those issues are sensitive in nature, and that many of the obstacles standing in our way are deeply ingrained. They represent personal, political, cultural, and religious views. However, every one of us standing here today is steadfast in breaking down those barriers that divide us on behalf of our students and families. We need to stay in space together, have open civil dialogue, and seek to better understand. I truly believe yesterday was a significant step in bringing our community closer back together and in finding ways for us to collaborate for the betterment of our district, but more specifically for the betterment of our students. During our time together yesterday, we began developing a framework to ensure that our LGBT students continue to feel safe on our campuses. Together, we identified some key actions and some next steps that can further support our work with LGBTQ students and to enhance the current programs that the district already has in place. Some of these initiatives include further supporting our Gay Straight Alliance high school clubs and exploring an expansion of these student interest-based clubs at sites where students, staff, and families are expressing additional needs for support. We were told by the community that younger students are in need of support as well. Identifying willing and capable staff members on our school sites with whom LGBTQ students can reach out during their instructional day. Individuals who would receive unique training, ensuring that they can provide the necessary support to interested students to provide a safe person and a safe place on our campuses. Moving ahead with pursuing additional professional development for staff around the idea of cultural competency, including identifying appropriate training specific to our transgender students and separate from our lesbian, gay, and bisexual students. As we learned yesterday, there's a difference in terms of the supports that each of those student groups need. Exploring a partnership with our community organizations to resurrect a 1-800 call line to provide support for all students, including our LGBTQ students, who need somebody to talk to about the issues that they're facing 24 hours a day. So over the next 30 days, we'll fine-tune these supports for others and make a more comprehensive presentation to the community and the board regarding our intended supports. I just want to thank the community leaders who met with us on short notice and for their willingness to engage with the district in a constructive manner, to just be believing and have faith that things are going to be better the more that we sit down and talk to one another in space on real issues surrounding students. I'm thankful that they're willing to provide guidance so that we can do a better job of supporting all of our students. Before I close, I want to reassure our community at large that we invite you to share your thoughts with us. I understand that the community has much to say. That being said, I also need to add that people who plan to join us at tonight's board meeting, there's an expectation that we will join with you in a tone of positivity, civility, and mutual respect. Our students deserve nothing less. In the meantime, we're grateful for this path forward, which now includes new friends, new partners, and support for all students on the path to graduate college and career ready. And with that, I'd like to just say thank you for your opportunity to meet with us on this very important topic, and I'd be willing to take some brief questions specific to the information that I provided.
Superintendent, is this news conference here, the meeting you had yesterday, is this all in reaction to Brooke Ashton's comments that he made in the B a couple weeks ago?
The reality of why we're here is that it's a commitment on behalf of our entire board, unified, to say all of our students matter, that they are due love, respect, consideration, and engagement in our school process.
But will we be here for those comments?
If you recall, in the early spring, we were here around issues of English learners. And 2 weeks ago, we were here around issues of African American learners. Today, we're here around issues of LGBTQ learners. In the very near future, you're going to hear me extol passionately the needs of special needs youth. Our responsibility is to make sure that all means all, and that I have the unanimous decision of the board to push forward to make sure that we're providing, to the greatest degree possible, supports for every student, regardless of what they may bring to the table, making sure that we meet the needs of all of our students in totality. And I can firmly assure you, that the board is unified in that interest.
So you can't say whether those comments that he mentioned have in any way affected the timing of this meeting or the issuance of this meeting?
I think anybody who lives in the world of today, who frequents social media and frequents the media at large, knows that there is a universal discourse which deals with incivility and some kind of inhumanity. We say things in social media that we would never have the strength of character to say. It's absolutely crucial that our board and we as a district chart a centrist path to make sure that all of our students' needs are met. The people's individual opportunity to say anything related to personal ideology stops at the schoolroom door. Our responsibility is to educate all kids and to make sure that they feel welcome, safe, and comfortable in their school environment.
You said you were told they needed resources younger. How young? Are we talking about elementary schools?
Our partner, I can just speak to, and I don't want to speak for Jeff, but Jeff from Community Link talked about some of the outreach that he's doing, where young people are asking for additional supports. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, you talked as young as 11 was the number that we talked about yesterday.
Correct.
And so just recognizing that that is an expressed need in our community and trying to figure out how we might grapple with that issue and how we go about supporting students, all students.
Superintendent, you mentioned that you want to ensure that students continue to feel safe on our campuses. that sort of presumes that they feel safe now. Is that universally the case?
You know, in discussing with our partners, and again, I don't want to speak for them, but I will say there is still a general feeling that many of our students still face harassment, bullying, and that those issues are not addressed by those of us in schools that are not immediately acting upon that. It's important for our adults in the system, all of us. I'm not going to identify a certain classification because it's as true of the teacher as it is of the bus driver and as it is of the superintendent and the office manager, that if we're hearing issues where students are being mistreated or belittled in any manner, that we intervene, that kids feel welcome and comfortable, and that they know that school is a place that they can come and be loved, and that they can be taught, right? And they're there for a purpose. Our purpose is to make sure that 100% of them graduate college and career ready. And whatever gaps exist between where they are at now and where they need to go to get to that ultimate outcome that we have for them, our job is to fill the margin. And if it's a situation where they don't feel comfortable while we're filling the margin, it's something we have to fix.
It sounds a little like filling the gap includes training the staff, teachers, administrators to respond when they see this stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the things we talked about was comprehensive professional development to make sure that all students feel welcome and supported at school. And that's not just our LGBTQ community. I mean, that's all students, regardless. Early April time, we were talking about students who are immigrant students. Do they feel welcomed and supported? We have disproportionate outcomes currently with certain demographic groups across the system. What are we doing to close the gap? When those gaps exist, our responsibility as a board and as a district is to collectively address those responsibilities. We know that our responsibility is to make sure 100% of our kids are able to have the opportunity to walk across that graduation stage, college and career ready. So whatever we need to do as adults to better facilitate that, that's work that we need to engage in.
Superintendent, you mentioned, social media, the media in general. Over the last couple of weeks, how difficult has those couple of weeks been for you and your staff? And, how much pressure did you feel to have this sort of press conference and this meeting last night?
I will say, as a relatively new leader in the system who's still in a finalist status as your potential superintendent for Fresno Unified, that charting a path of civility and mutual respect in a highly charged environment where people feel really strongly about what they believe is challenging, right? It's a sobering time to step into this role. People are like, why did you want to become the superintendent of Fresno Unified in the middle of some difficulty? And the reality of it is, somebody in the system has to chart a path for civility, kindness, love, and inclusion. And it's crucial that leaders in our system take that mentality and push it into the public sphere. Because again, our incivility has to stop.